Hey everybody, what's going on? Little delay here getting set up. I had to relocate all of the gear, and I've got a couple things going on here. Let me get set up. See, I got the iPad. I don't have two monitors or the multiple monitors, so I only have the one camera today. And so what we're going to do is just kind of go live here. I'm at the Memphis Articulate User Group meeting. And right now, I don't know if the schedule's wrong or if I goofed up, which I probably did. But there's nobody here yet. So as they come in, you'll kind of see them come in back there, hopefully. But let's get started. I'm excited because we got the three ring gameplay going. So let's see. I'm going to pull up. Just bear with me here because I got to pull it up. There's my chat. There we go. There we go. There's Kelly. There's Stephanie. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Awesome. Okay. Let me. This is not. This is different. I am going to switch over. Let's see what this camera looks like. I need to pull. Hang on. What I'm doing is again producing. And I don't want that one. Hang on. This one. I'm setting up. Oh goodness. It's not there. So it's the same. It's the same thing. So that would be this one. Where is it? So I'm not quite set up, but that's okay. Why is that? It seems like I can't pull Storyline up. For some reason, it's not letting me pull up the other display. Display capture, maybe that's it. There it is. Ooh, there it is. So let's see if that works. Yeah, that should work. All right, this is going to look really, really weird. And let's get that display. This camera goes up. Just hang on with me. Hang on. I promise this is going to work. There we go. That should go in the front. I don't know if this is going to work or not. So let's switch it over. And you should be seeing, I don't know if you can see my face though. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Well, it's Storyline. I can't get the other camera to show up there. There's Bill McNeil. What's going on? Gosh, we haven't talked in a long time. Say hi, Bill, everybody. Bill and I used to work together back in corporate. Bill's living the retired life now. All right, so let's get started. What we got? We're getting started here. I'm excited to show you what's going on, and I'm going to monitor the feed because I can't. You can't see me looking at the camera right now. I'm going to flip back over. For some reason, I can't get this other. I can't get this other camera. Oh, you know what? I know why. Hang on, I think I got it. There it is. I fixed it. I think. Here it comes. Yay. Ta-da. I figured it out. Okay. Now we're rocking and rolling. All right, let's get excited. Let's go. I'm looking off to the side here because that's where my iPad Pro is at, and that's where I've got Facebook running. Because before, like the last 9 episodes, I've got multiple monitors where I can pull different feeds up and different things I can watch, so it's easier to produce. This is kind of a new thing for me, but hey, we're doing it. It's unscripted, it's live, and we learn by doing. So let's do this. Check this out. I'm just going to play it because you're going to get excited. One of the things, if you were here yesterday, we added the third ring and we got started, and it's all about the layers. And what's more exciting is that there are 0 variables in gameplay. None. That means you can build this in any version of Storyline. That is cool. The only variables used right now I'm tracking positions, but I'm not using those positions. I'm not evaluating those any right now. So essentially gameplay is unnecessary. Or the variables are unnecessary with the actual gameplay. Now I'm going to keep the variables in there because I've got some other exciting news coming up later, and where I might need to keep those in there. So we're going to leave them alone for now. I'm going to keep tracking them and everything, but they're up there in the upper left. You'll see the ring positions 3, 4, 5. If you can see in the upper left corner of the screen there, I don't know if you see that well enough. And if we kind of think of it, Tower A is 1 through 5. Now the reason ring 1 is in position 3 because we're planning ahead for 5 rings. So eventually when we get 5 rings in here, ring 1 would be in position 1 and then all the way down to ring 5. So right now it's only 3 rings, so it's positions 3, 4, and 5. Tower B is positions 6 through 10, and then obviously Tower C is positions 11 through 15. So that's where we're tracking the positions. Now the blue squares in the back there, those are just visible drop targets for right now. But as we go live and once we get done fiddling with all this, we're going to turn those all to transparent so you can't see them. So let's play the game here. Now this is cool. Watch this. You remember those inherent behaviors. Storyline has a couple inherent behaviors. One is if you don't drop on a target, what it does is it snaps back to the starting position. But notice where this ring is snapping back to. It's snapping back to the starting position of this last move instead of all the way back over to Tower A that we were running into initially. Why? Because I'm on a layer. And the upper right, the blue label, you see that nomenclature, that naming convention? I had to come up with a naming convention to be able to not only manage this gameplay, but all gameplay going forward. So how do we read that? That label is the same name as the layer. You follow me? So R1C5 means that's ring 1 in position C5. Ring 2 is position A4. Ring 3 is position A5. And then if you look at the variables, you'll see the variable change for ring 1, position 15. Now I know that can be sounding confusing, but if we go all the way back to episode 1 and 2, we were talking about identifying a pattern. And once we identify the pattern, the rest is busy work because we just repeat the pattern. And we've identified that. We've locked it down. I think we've got it. We were discovering it back in episode 8 and 9. Yesterday we kind of nailed it. And now we've got a pattern in this new strategic approach that we're taking. So, so that's, and the C1 that I've got on that layer name there, that C1 means this is the path to win on Tower C. So this is the first move to win in Tower C. Let me keep playing Tower C. So 2 would go to Tower B, and you'll see that's C2. So it's the second move to win on Tower C. My ring positions change. Now I bring 1 back up on top of 2. 3 goes over to C. 1 goes over to A. 2 goes on top of 3. 6. And then this is 7 moves. And my count is off. It says 6. Let's do that. There we go. There's some fine tuning we have to do, right? But you'll see the nomenclature now. R1 is on C3, our ring 2 is on C4, and ring 3 is on C5. And then we hit play again, resets everything, puts everything back over in our positions. Now let's win on Tower B. So this time, I'm going to start with ring 1 right here, and that's B1. And it's a different layer. It's a completely different layer because this looks different than it did before. B2, win to B3, 3 goes to, 1 goes all the way back over to A, 2 goes on top of 3, and 7 moves, we win. It works. But one of the one of the things we have to figure out, though, is hang on, let me look over here. Anybody? See, like before, I could look right at this monitor and I can see the feed at the same time, like within just a little bit of eye movement from the camera. But now I have to go all the way over here. Okay. Good stuff. Rocking and rolling. Now let's take a look at what that looks like. Look at these are all the layers for 3-ring gameplay. It's all, I don't know how many there are. I haven't counted yet. So let's talk about this setup real quick, and then we're going to go through. And what I'm going to do is there's still some refining that I have to do. As you notice that we were 1 move off. So let's see. Let me move that out of the way because that's in the way of the camera. Let me make sure it pops up here. There we go. That's good enough. You see that? Okay. Okay. Now what I'll have to do. Actually, let me move it over here. There we go. We don't need to see the slide pane over there. I'm only working on 1 slide. There we go. That looks good. Okay. Good setup. Now, what's the advantage of... remember the limitations, right? Let's take a look at our game here. Can you see that okay? I think so. You set it up. We're a couple seconds... Uh-oh, look. 1 is upside down. 3 is upside down. Actually, we don't need these 2 for right now. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So what's going on? One of those inherent behaviors with Storyline is we were building everything on 1 slide. And we were just adding all the triggers, and we were trying to adjust and move things around. And it was getting really confusing managing triggers. We were only at 2 rings at the time. And one of the things with starting on that base layer is that if this doesn't go to an intended drop target, what happens is it snaps back to its starting position. And as long as we were always on that same slide, this is always going to be its starting position. Regardless if there's anything below it, it would always snap back to its starting position, which is, A3. So that was one of those inherent behaviors with a drag and drop interaction in Storyline. That's not a bug. There's nothing wrong with Storyline at all. It does exactly what it was designed to do. It's just this particular complex design is that sort of a limitation for us. So we had to move away from that. The other problem that we were running into is Storyline has this setting where you can only allow 1 drag item per drop target. So the drop targets are the positions. So if ring 2 is there and I wanted to drop ring 1 in the same position, the one thing would happen is they would be on the same, they would be on the same target at the same time. And the only way to prevent that is we had to convert the whole thing to a freeform interaction to access 1 setting that says only allow 1 drag item per drop target. But then what happens is it would only allow 1. So if I try to put 1 on that same drop target, where's 2 going to go? 2 is going to go back to its starting position. So that's another inherent behavior that was really we were running into a jam with that. So how do we avoid that? Well, that's when we went to the layer idea. And the layer idea, the strategy is this is our starting slide. Now, once we go into the first move, we're in a layer. We're never going back to that base slide. We're always going to be in this stack of layers going back and forth, up and down. And that is the secret sauce to this gameplay. So if we look, right now, you're seeing the base layer. Now, when I go to start is not where we're starting. Start is simply backwards play. Remember the other thing we talked about last week in episode 6 or 7, is that we had to plan for the fail path, or positions that, trying to figure out different positions. The first two potential moves for ring 1, and remember, it doesn't matter how many rings we have, 2 up to 5, ring 1 is always going to be the first move. And ring 1 can only go in one of two positions, either B5 or C5. There's no other place for those to go. If that's the case, then I don't need all of these other drop targets. Now they're here on this base slide for now, but ring 1 can only go to B5 or C5. So now we only have 2 triggers. So this is each thing is going to be set up this way. The base slide as well as all the layers. So if we look at, we just have some timeline triggers to set the variables to their appropriate positions. 3, 4, and 5. That's where ring 1, 2, and 3 is set. Ring 1 is the only object that can be moved. So we add a count or a move count to ring 1 if it drops on B5 or C5. So there's our trigger. One or the other place. And when that happens, show this layer. And what layer would that be? That would be the layer that we're going to. So R1, B5, and then ring 2 still on A4, ring 3 still on A5, and that would be the B1 win path. So ring 1 would go to this position right here, B1 or B5. So if this object is dropped on that target on B5, go to that layer. Conversely, if that object is dropped on C5, go to that layer. So B1. Now you can see everything's transparent here in the background. Probably not the best colors at the moment. But if we look, now there's only 2 layers that need these additional triggers to hide the base graphics. What I mean by that, I need to hide these 3 graphics because I want to be able to start over with 3 new or 4 more or 5 more ring drag item. Whatever available drag items are on that layer and that layer only. So the first 2 moves, either B1 or B2, no, B1 or C1, I have these 2, 3 change state of. So we have to hide the base layer graphics, not the game board itself, just those rings. After that, we don't have to do it. And then we do the same thing. There's B1. Where is B2? Well, I can move. Now here's the thing. Once we get here, we've got to evaluate every possible move. So ring 1 can still move again. It can go back to its starting position, and that would be start. Or it could go over to C5. So you can move ring 1 again, or we can bring ring 2 over to C5. Check out above. You remember that one thing where we had the problem, what was the other thing, is we couldn't hide a drop target. So Storyline was recognizing whether we hit a drop target or if we put a mask over a drop target. So essentially I could put ring 2 on top of 1, but then I had to evaluate an invalid move, and then do we take an extra point off for moving? So why don't we eliminate the ability to even do an invalid move and not even put a drop target there? Hello? There's only 2 places to go, either ring 1 back on top or ring 1 or ring 2 on C5. That's only possible positions this next move can be. And then we just accommodate those triggers. Go to those layers. If dropped on, add 1 to the move. So let's say we're going to take ring 2 and move over here to C5. Ring 2, C5, that's the B2. And now ring 2 is over here on B5. We adjust our naming convention. Again, this label up here at the top is just going to, it's just for me to kind of keep track of things. Once we go live, we're going to, we'll turn all this off and move it all away. But notice the layer now, I don't have those change state triggers anymore. Why? Because I've already changed them. And once I've changed them to hidden, the ones on the base graph, I don't ever have to worry about it again. They're gone. unless I turn them back on. And the only time I turn them back on is when we get to the win, we'll reset everything and we go back and start the game over. Then everything gets reset. So this approach is, I wish I would have thought of this like 5 episodes ago. We'd be done by now. But that's the process, right? You have to think through and try out some ideas. And I told you that even though all the design work we did scribbling on the iPad early on, that got our brain going and that got us thinking about it until we ran into those problems where we can't really design on paper at that point. We actually have to test our ideas on what Storyline can and can't do. And we identified and we discovered 3 things specifically that Storyline, it's not that it can't do, it's just limited based on how it's put together. So what's exciting about this is we've been able to figure this out without using a single variable. Now remember, the gameplay is nothing to do with variables. The gameplay is simply showing a layer based on where a drag item is put. That's it. Now I want to go back 1 layer, and you see drag 1 can go over to C5. Well, what does that mean? See that C1? That's actually taking me to a different, so I can start a different path. So that could be it could be the first move if that was your first move, or it could be the second move after this first move, and I can bring it over here. So that's part of the busy work, and a little bit of confusion is we have to evaluate every possible move. So with that being said, I'm going to start troubleshooting because we have to fine-tune this before we add a 4th ring. And hopefully by the time I get done today, we could have the complete 3-ring gameplay done. Actually, there was a request, and I'm not sure who's with us today. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's funny. So Facebook Live just sent me a message. Put on a mask to give yourself a fun look. Does this need a mask? Oh, that's funny. Okay. No, one of the folk, and I can't remember who suggested. I wish I remembered. I wrote it down, but I didn't write down the name. Is best score. How do we keep track of a best score? I don't know if I want to do that right now. It's not going to take much to, well, we could do it, I guess. It's not hard to do. We need another variable. Actually, we're going to need 2 variables. We need best score. Let's do that real quick, now that I'm thinking about it. Best score. We need something to transfer number of moves into this variable. And then that'll be a container, because we don't want to just keep transferring the same one, because what if you get a higher score the next time? You want to maintain the lowest score, right? The best score. Best score. Best score, and that's going to be a number variable. And then I need another one called best score. Let me think. Best score now, maybe. And best score low. Now and low. So, well, I don't like it. Best score low. I'm going to use best score low. And I'm going to get rid of this word now. Just best score and best score low. So best score is going to be active, and best score low is going to be the overall low. So I'm going to pass in best score. Let me do this. Best score moves. So this is going to be the active gameplay. Whatever you end up with will go in there. And then we'll transfer that to best low, and then we'll evaluate which greater than or equal than, and then keep the lowest score all the way. The $1 billion company masks. The nughead on the, yeah, I know, isn't it, Andrea? I mean, come on, right? Actually, I was playing around with them with my my granddaughters. I don't know. Yeah, hold on. This is funny. So I don't know if you can see that. Oh, I'm going to put it up. So we're doing one. Can you see that one? I'm holding it up because I got to wait till the stream picks it up. Oh, there she is. Yeah. Okay. There's that one. And then where's the other one? There's. We were having a good time yesterday. All right. Come on. The stream is there. It is. Rawr, rawr. We had a good time with that. All right, where was I? I digress. All right, so we got two. What do we got? Two variables: best score low, best score. So what I want to do is go back here. I need a. I'm just going to copy this real quick. Let's put this over here. Let's just put it in the middle for right now. This is best score. And this is best score low. Put it right there for now. Make sure I spelled that right. Best score low. Best score low. All right, so then when we get to a win, right here, we need to adjust a variable. Best score moves. This is what we need first. Best score moves. Add variable moves when a timeline starts. So what does that mean? That means whatever that button's in the way. I'm going to move this up here for now. So what does that mean? That means that when you get done, you win, your best score is going to go up here. So let's play that. Make sure that we're, and which was this tower B? Yeah, tower B win. So let's play that real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it didn't work. So best score, I need to transfer that into best score, 7. So why didn't that work? Best score low, add adjust variable best score, best score low. That's the problem. Best score, there we go. That should work. Let's try it again, test it out, make sure it works. So this is the Memphis Articulate user group, and there's nobody here. I think it's summertime. Maybe it's just summertime. I don't know. Maybe it's the time of day. I don't know. All right, here we go. There we go. Best score so far, 7 so far. Now, what if I get 10 moves, but I want to keep best score in there? So if I get 10 moves, so I'm going to move 10 into there. And so I want to adjust, what do I want to adjust? Best score, oh, wait a minute, I think I'm going to do something else here. Just best score moves, add number moves, so we got that one, but I need another one. So now adjust best score low, variable best score moves. When the timeline starts, if best score low is less than best score moves. I think, I don't know, my logic is, I can't tell. So what we're going to do, first thing we're going to do is we're going to add the number of moves that it took into best score moves. And then we're going to add best score moves to best score low. If best score low is less than, but we still have to get best score moves in there. Maybe I need two. I don't know. I'm going to have to think through. I'm going to try this one more time, and then we're going to move on. Add this to. So we're going to add it to both. So we're going to add number of moves to best score low, add number of moves to best score moves. And because we have best score low displayed, it's going to show that. Then only adjust best score low if the new best score low is less than best score moves. Does that make sense? Did you follow me? I have no idea if that's going to work. Okay, so what we need to do is play a game where we get more than 7 moves. That's the first thing. So if you hear the choo-choo train, it's time for the freight to go by at 11:30. Can you imagine living in a dorm like here on campus with that? I mean, it's literally like the road that goes to the border of this campus, the train track goes parallel along the entire perimeter of the campus. Can you imagine living? I think the dorms are over on that side, though. I can't remember. It's a big campus. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2. Let's add a move unnecessarily. 3, 4, 5. Let's just add a bunch of moves there. So we're way over 7. And then now we can put these. So we're at 11, 12. So it took 12. Oh, and it didn't move. So I need to get number of moves into best score. Best score low. Add number of moves to best score low. That's what we did right there. Okay. Also add number of moves to best score moves. And then maybe I don't need this third one. Maybe I just need to do the add best score low. Is less than if best score. Oh, wait, I know what it is. I'm going to delete this one. I think, hold on. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. And I'll think through it. See, it's live. I got to think through it a lot. Anybody got any ideas? Am I missing something? You lost the video? When was that? Stephanie, I'm just looking. Did you lose the video? Not good. And you know what? I don't think I hit recording. I didn't. Crap. Crumb nuggets. Storyline's recording. That's okay. I'll take that one. That's the second time I've done that. It was you. Okay. Welcome back. Okay, let's see. Best score low. Add number of moves. If number of moves is less than best score moves. So that's that one. And then we're adding number of moves to best score moves. Maybe that's it. Maybe those two are it. I don't have to think through this a little bit more. Yeah, checklist. Checklist. Well, I was just talking to Dr. Cliff Mims, who was just here a minute ago, and we were talking about some stuff around campus, and time got away, and I wasn't checking everything. Oh, wait a minute. Where am I at? 5. Let's go back. 6. Let's get 7. Okay, 8. 9. 10. Okay, here, this should be 11. And it's still not going in there. Wow. Oh, you know why? Duh. I'm working on this layer, not this layer. Goofy, man. Look at that. Hello. It needs to be on this layer. This layer doesn't matter. Best score is always going to be 7, right? I think. All right, let's try it again. Okay, 1. We're spending way too much. Put these. This is fun. I mean, it works great. There we go. And it's still not. Okay, I'm done. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I'm missing something obvious. Something's obvious there that I'm not seeing. Okay, we're almost ready to do. I'm shifting gears. Or should I stay on this until it works? Because it might take the rest of our time. But it's not necessary now, because once I get it working, I can just copy over to every gameplay. So, no, we're going to move on. I got the seeds are planted. Let's put it that way. Okay. Here's what we need to do. It could be, Kelly, it could be the bandwidth here. I'm using, obviously, the campus Wi-Fi. It's arguably been really, really good Wi-Fi. I mean, obviously, it's campus, so it's got to be pretty strong. But I'm on the guest side, so I don't know if it's a smaller bandwidth on the guest side. All right, so what I need to do, and I was fiddling with this. Notice I did a lot of work. I'm sorry. I did say I wasn't going to do any work on this, but setting all this up and coming up with these naming conventions, this is probably the 3rd iteration of naming convention for all of these layers, moving these things around, and I spent probably another couple hours last night. Sorry. Can't help it. I get into the flow. I was really into the flow yesterday, and I just had to keep going to make sure this pattern was feasible, and it is. But if you notice, there are 2 win paths, right? We have the B path. If you win equals 7 moves, or you win greater than 7 moves, and then you get into the C path, or winning on tower C. And then all of these layers up here are moves that are possible moves, but are not part of the win path. Now you can move them around and still get back on the path, but these are extras. So I've got to verify to make sure all of these, if we're not missing one of those. And the way to do that is I tested the B path already. I want to test the C path. Now what I mean by testing this is we make the first move. Remember, there's only one of two positions. That's the first move. Now what are the extra, what can be done here? So I can either move 2 to tower B, 1 to tower B, or 1 back to A. Those are my possible moves. So I'm going to move 1 back to A. And what I'm verifying here is if I'm on the correct layer and are my variables set right. So ring 1, A3, ring 2, A4, ring 3, A5. So that's good. That's correct. I'm not worried about moves because it's going to count those anyway because it's on every layer. So let's go back over here. Now, what's the next possible move? I can move ring 1 to tower B. Now, this is actually the first move if you go on the B side win. So I'm just jumping down to that path. And now I can take over and go into that path and win using tower B. But I'm trying to verify all the possible moves. And this is the backward move. So I should go back to C1 now. Right, so there's C1. So I've got to evaluate forward and backward. And then the next potential move, now this is what's really nice about these layers, is there's no ability to do an invalid play. I can't do an invalid move. There's only one place this ring 2 can go, and it's right there. So that's our second move. Ring 1's on C5, ring 2's on B5, ring 3's on A5. Our variables are correct. Now, what can happen here? Now that we're on this layer. Now, going to C3 is simple. Ring 1 goes on top of ring 2. R1, B4, R2, B5, and R3 still on A5. And now we have our variables 9, 10, and 5. So everything's right. That's correct there. Well, let's go back to C2. Now, what is a possible move? 2 can go back, correct? So that should take me back to C1. So that works. 2 cannot go on top of 1. 1 should be able to go on top of 3 because that's a valid move. And there's one that doesn't have a path. So this is not, it's a valid move, but it's not part of the minimum number of moves, the path to win. So ring 1, A4, R2, B5, R3, A5. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. I was right here, C2. Now there's a branch going on here. One is I go to C3. Now evaluate these, or do I go over here and start evaluating these potential moves? Well, it's just backwards gameplay, right? Because all I'm doing is going back to C3, go back to this layer, or go back to C2. Or I can go from this position all the way back to C2 and then to C3. So all of those potential moves are validated. That's the part of troubleshooting, the QA part, right? So we're going to QA as we go along so we don't miss anything. So now we're in C3. Now what's the next potential moves? We already figured out that we can go 1 to 3. We did that already. That's fine. Now at this point we know we can go backwards. Now from here there's really only one forward advance move, and that's our third ring. There's only one place it can go, and it's all the other invalid moves, it doesn't matter. It's going to snap back to its starting position, and the starting position on this layer. That's what's cool. Watch ring 1. See, it doesn't matter. The starting position is where I am on that layer. That's what's really cool about this approach. And I don't have to worry about trying to grab a ring that's underneath, because that would be an invalid move, trying to grab one from underneath. Well, if I don't put any triggers assigned to ring 2, then it's not going to work. So that's an easy fix. So all of these inherent behaviors and concerns and all of that we had last week, gone with this approach. Okay, ring 3, we're going to take that over to tower C. So that's our C4 path, right? Variables, 9, 10, 15, that's correct. Now, we have 2, well, we can move 3 back, obviously. So on this layer, now remember, we're on a layer, a new layer. So I have to evaluate this backwards play to go back to C3. So every move is a different layer, regardless of what it appears or visually what it looks like. It looks like we're sitting in one spot, but we're essentially moving, we're going up and down and back and forth through that stack of layers. Next potential move is 1 can go on top of 3, or it can go over here to tower A. We know this is our next position, but what happens if it goes on tower C? There's our new layer, new position. That's not a, it's a valid move, but it's not part of the path. So here's what's interesting is here's C4, so it's our fourth move in the path. There's our fifth move in the path. And the reason I added this little C5, because I'm focusing on winning on tower C, and evaluating all this, look where my moves are up to 30. So I added the little tower C5 that I know, so that I can always find my way back to that correct path. So it's just a little naming convention sort of tip, I guess you'd call it. So we just have to make sure that we evaluate every possible move from every possible location. So here we go over here to tower C. Now I should be able to go backwards from this, yes. And now here again, I should be able to go backwards. C5, okay. So that's all good. Now I know that this is C5, but I want to evaluate what happens if I move 2 over to tower A. Okay, that works. And that's essentially, oh, what happened right there? Did you see that? Aha, we have a break. Found one. Okay, let me do that again. Do you remember where we were at? Oh no. Okay, where was I? All right. Ring 3 was on tower C. No, hold on. Ring 3 was on tower C. Ring 2 was I think it was that. I think that's where it was. Now, what happens? Where am I at? C4, B5, C5. Okay. Did it happen if I went like this? No, that worked. So C4, R2. Aha, R2 is on A5 right here. R2 is on A5. Yeah, so this layer is messed up. So let's do that. Excuse me. R1, C4. That's where it should be, but it's not going there. It's actually going to here. No, R1, C4. Uh-huh, okay. Something's not jiving here. This is where we were, and I moved ring 2. Oh, it's showing that it goes to, if I drop on B4, and B4 is a drop target. Oh, so ring 2 doesn't go to, I see. That's the problem. You can't just move ring 2 up 1. Ring 2 has to drop on A4, or excuse me, A5. And then it goes to R1, C4, R2, A5. That's where it needs to go. Okay. Whew. Let's go back to that spot. Okay, ring 1, C5, ring 2, B5, B4, ring 3, C5, ring 1, C4. Okay, now if I move 2 over to A, 1455, that's correct. R1, C4, A5, C, there we go, that's correct. Now from here, this is where we had a goof up, right? This went, that's correct. Let's make sure we go back. That's where we were, so we went back to where we were, C4, B5, C5, that's correct. Now I can't remember, is this where we had a goof up? Let's try to move. Okay. R1, B5, or yeah, that's right. So let's move this back. Ah, look at that. That broke. I know where that was, I think. That was on, R1 was on B5, R2 was on A5. Where was that at? R was on B5. Yeah, it was right here. It was like that, and we tried to move ring 1 to back to C4. And that is not the correct layer, because that would be that layer. That's not correct. So we need to go. Actually, we got to go back to where we were just at with which layer would that be now? That would be ring 1 would be on C4. Ring 2 is on A5, and ring 3 is on C5. That's where it needs to go. C4. That's correct. And then if drops on A4, shows C5. What does C5 look like? That's incorrect. Okay, that's not right either. This needs to go to ring 1 A4. Uh-oh, maybe I don't have a... Oh, maybe that's it. No, ring 2, ring 1's on A4. I need an A4 and A5. A4, A5, C5. A4, A5, there it is, right there. That's what I need, which is A4, A5, C5, right there. Bingo. There it is. Okay. I was a little worried there that I didn't have, I wasn't accommodating that particular move, and I would need to add another layer. I think that's, I think we got it. I think we got it. Where's my band? What's it say? Make sure everybody's la 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 la. Okay, let's figure that out again real quick. All right, so 1 to C, B5, 1 back to B4, 3 over to C5, 1 to C4, 2 to A5. Now remember, this is where we started running into a jam. So let's put this one, that works. Put it back, yes. Put it back, yes. Now 2 should go back over on 3, correct. Should go back. I should be able to go back. Oh, there it is. What's that? Found it. Where are we at? Ring 1 B5, R2 C4. So we have B5, C4, C5. Oh, that's not right either. Ring 2 is not on C4. and those variables are incorrect. So this is the layer, but it's not the correct label here. So this is, I'm wondering if, oh goodness. Okay, so I need to find this configuration. R1B5. There that is. That's where we were. So it's R1B5, A2A5, R3C5, but 10, 5, that's right. Is there another layer that looks like that? Because that label is not what we just saw. What is? Let's see. What else do we have? There's our correct B5, A5, C5. Huh. Well, let's go back. And what was our A4? Remember, we were on a layer just now that if I went up to A4, it snapped back, so this wasn't working, but that layer label wasn't reading the same. It was a different label. Let's see. And see if there's another layer that looks the same. That's where we were just at. Huh. All right, let me try that again. You know what? Just for giggles. Just put a little marker on there. Oh gosh, we're almost out of time. Okay, we'll figure. Let's go through this one, and we'll call it an episode. This goes here, 2 over here. Now that little blue marker should show up. There it is. Okay, so R1B5, R2A5, 10, 5, and 15. Now this was where we ran into a problem right here, right? That's weird. Why was that snapping back before? Oh my goodness. You saw it. It was snapping right there. If I tried to land right there, it was snapping back. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see if we just play around with this some more. Oh, here's a potential move we don't have right here too. I should be able to move 3 over here to tower B. So that's A4, A5, C5. A4, A5, C5, ring 3 has no triggers. So we need to, 1, add a variable count. Number of moves. When the user dropped, ring 3 is dropped on B5. And then we want to show a layer. But what layer? Do we even have a layer for that? So our layer would be very similar. A1, A4, A5, and then B5. So an A4, A5, and then a B5. Right there. There it is. Okay. So this would go to A4, A5, B5. Right there. Shazam! And our positions are 4, 5, and 15. A4, A5, B5. Our positions are 4, 5, and 10. That's correct. So I already had the layer. I just needed to assign that one particular move. So 3 can go to B. 1 can go to B5 or C4. Awesome. I'm gonna think we're gonna take a breath. Holy cow. That's pretty awesome right there. Okay, we're gonna do this sort of really weird kind of, oh my gosh, look, hold on. Hold on. I know it looks really weird, like totally psychedelic. Okay. That was a good one. Got a little explanation out. So now I got all that layer explanation out of the way on how we're going to, you know, the pattern, how we're going to just take this whole thing and add these other 2 rings to our gameplay. So we've got the pattern. Now it's just busy work, just like that last bit there. I'm going to give it some more thought on the scoring, best score, and I'll set up episode 11. And I apologize, I don't have the rest of the week figured out. Let me get back to the studio, and I'll set up some more events and see if we can't get this wrapped up. Hey, one of the exciting things I want to tell you, I'm joining the XAPI cohort with Torrance Learning, Megan Torrance, and some of you familiar with what she does in work. I know enough about XAPI that I know I don't know enough about it. And so another good friend of ours, Sean Putman, has offered his experience to jump in that cohort program with Megan, Torrance Learning. And he said, hey, wouldn't it be cool to add some XAPI to your Tower of Hanoi game you're building? Right? So that's why I'm going to keep all those variables in there. So maybe we'd build a leaderboard and we build some other, I don't know. I mean, we can track 1,000 things, and I'm not sure. I think I know what you know what I mean, but I guess from a game perspective, you know, we do a leaderboard and send it out where, you know, best scores and all that kind of stuff. So we'll figure it all out. But I'm kind of excited about that. I want to learn more about XAPI and how I can apply it to what I'm doing here with Storyline. So we're get excited about that. It starts at the end of the month. I don't know what we can do with that. Maybe we go live with some of that later, but we'll see how that is going to work out. But I'm pretty excited about it. So thanks for joining, everybody. Happy Tuesday. What day is it? Wednesday. All right, I'm out. I'm going to wrap this up. I got to take my stepdaughter over to a dentist appointment real quick this afternoon. Then I'll be back in the studio and I'll render all this and get it uploaded and get some notes up on the website. So thanks, everybody. And then keep an eye on the page and you'll find out when we are doing episode 11, probably tomorrow. For sure this week. I'm not sure. I'll need to double check my calendar. All right. Talk to you later. See ya.